Showed up early.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
It's Donna and Joelle. We get on here way too early and we're chit-chatting with each other. So we don't really know when to stop talking. So sorry about
Yeah,
that.
we don't pay attention.
Today we thought we would have a conversation. We talked the other day about this and how much once we learned about our abilities and intuition and spirituality and all of that, how we were able to realize how it was at play in our lives, even as children. Like,
Right.
I mean, for me, it was always there to some degree, but we had no idea. We just thought, well, I thought nobody had logic, but
Right.
So we thought we'd talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah.
Because we believe everybody has these abilities. Everybody
Absolutely.
has all of this. It's just a matter of what you're exposed to, whether you look into it, whether you give it the credit it deserves.
Right.
Keeping you safe and stuff like that, But
not thinking it's BS like people tell you. And
coincidence. There's no coincidence. Right. Like everything's coincidental, right?
Right.
No, it's not. Hey, Judy.
Hey, Judy. Good morning.
Good morning.
But yeah, I'm kind of like you too. It dawned on me this morning. Not quite the same as you, like giving people advice, but like watching TV shows or movies and knowing what's going to happen and people being like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, how the hell did you not?
Right.
I'm like, how could you not? And it makes sense now, Right.
It really does. And it's funny because, we've both had, I think, a lot of experiences. And, as you hinted there, for me as a child, I always had advice. Now, some of my youngest memories that have come back, because I really didn't remember most of my childhood, has been me hearing people's thoughts and responding to them.
Yeah.
So, my mom has a friend over and, my mom and dad didn't get along when they were together. And that friend is thinking like not nice things about my dad. And I'm like, why would you say that about my dad? Things like that would so she shut that down pretty rapidly at that point. But, even after that, like I always knew things, people would be talking about something or my mom would be upset about something and I would have advice for her that was right. And she used to say to me, how are you always right? Like she used to really upset her.
Yeah.
But I always had some kind of advice. And for things that I was a young child, like I had no basis for it. And even as I got older, for me, I was just like, it's just logic.
Yeah.
These people are dumb. Nobody has any logic. Like you can't see how that just lines up. Like I don't understand how you don't see that. But as it turns out, in my 40s, I find out it is so much more. Right? And did you also notice how, like, I'm sure you've had anxiety issues through your life or, things that just kept you kind of off kilter and you never really could figure out why. And, me, I was, diagnosed with a mental illness. But what I also realized through that process was we're receiving from everything and everywhere.
And I had such severe anxiety in my 20s.
Yeah.
That just came out of nowhere. And it's like, they had me on medication after medication and it was ridiculous until one day I'm just like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it's funny because it was about the same time when I worked at retail. And I kind of talked a little bit how I would freak people out when they would come up to ask me for something. They're like, hey, I'm looking for, and I'm like, oh yeah, blah, blah. And I would tell them what they were looking for. And I don't know how this little southern town did not burn me at the stake because, Pentecostal church is across the street and it's like,
well, they're just as good as
people out,
They're like, no, let's just pretend like Joel doesn't exist.
Right. It just the looks on their faces are just like, oh, how the hell did you know this? I'm like, and I didn't know. It would just I would just blurt it out. I couldn't stop it. And it's like,
yeah. And that just goes to show, like, and now we know, now we get it, right? Like now in our, I don't know how old you are, but in my 40s was when I started to realize just how much was going on spiritually our
Yeah.
guides, right? We all have these teams of guides, and they're right there. And you know, the messages all come from for most of us come from within, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always my voice. Like they're
Right.
not going to freak me out by giving me somebody else's voice.
Really? You hear your own voice?
Well, I
Because
do
I
hear my own
don't.
voice. I
I
do.
hear a male voice all the time. I don't
Do.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only heard
That's
a male
funny.
voice one time, and it was audible.
Really.
It was in my car, and
Yeah.
it was the one that told me, it put me on the path of healing, to put
Right.
me on the path of trying to figure out how to heal, right?
Yeah.
Being like, I was already like, you know, with my little mental illness diagnosis, and I was like, okay, let's, you know, we can fix this, right? And the doctors are like, no, you can't. And I'm like,
Right.
really? Because I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm driving and crying, and, you know, voice. Happiness is a choice. Just choose
Yeah.
it. Like, I never questioned where that voice came from. That
Right.
was the first thing I'd ever heard. The first time I ever thought there was something outside of me guiding me, but it didn't even like register. And I would
Yeah.
venture to say people have a lot of weird experiences like that they just don't question.
Blow off. Yeah. They
Yeah.
just like you said, oh, that's a coincidence. No, it's not. It's not.
No, and the more we learn there are no coincidences.
Right.
You know, things are pretty intentional.
Right.
And you know, we can help ourselves by, you know, changing our thought processes and, you know, doing different things. But
And stop worrying about what other people think. That's
right,
still a big one for me, but yeah.
is it? Yeah, you know, it was for me until I hit 40. There was
Yeah.
something that happened at 40. You know, I mean, I had left my husband a few years
Right.
before, you know, so I was growing and changing. But at 40, I was like, yeah, I don't really care.
Right. I call that
Uh,
the I don't give a crap era.
yeah, yeah, it came in at right around 40
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, I mean, there was so many times like, um, you know, like for you, you know, at work, telling people, you know,
Yeah.
where
And
to
even
find stuff.
driving down the road, like it dawned on me yesterday, I did it as a kid too. Telling my mama, watch out for that car, they're gonna pull out in front of you. And it just
Me too.
it
Yeah.
was normal to me. I thought everybody could do it.
Yeah.
It was normal.
Yeah.
And one day,
I
driving with my husband, he's like, how the hell do you do that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? How do
my
you
gosh, just
know? I'm
tell
like,
me.
I don't know. I just do.
Yeah. Because it's so
You know,
natural. Because it's all, you know, I mean, the guides are all part of us, right? I mean,
yeah.
in all reality. I
And this was
learned to
before I
drive.
started,
Yeah.
really getting into
Yeah.
yeah.
I learned to drive by watching my mother. I
Yeah.
remember being young and watching her drive, and I could feel how it felt to be doing what she
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah.
And when they put me in the car at 15, I drove like I've been driving for years. The instructor was like, pull over. And I'm like, what? He's like, you already know how to drive. Get out, get in the back seat. I never got to drive again. He was like, no, you already know what you're doing. But I had never been in a car. I had
Hmm.
never been driving in a car at
Yeah.
all. You know, we had the occasional like little mini bike or whatever that we drove around
Right.
property when we were younger. But I remember moments of driving in the car, and we weren't really, you know, allowed to talk much or anything. So
Yeah.
I would be studying her. And I remember feeling like I was her when she was driving. And I
That's so
realized
cool.
that's where that came back. That's how
Yeah.
I knew how to drive. That was how I knew how to drive. It was the weirdest thing when that
That's
came back. They're like,
yeah.
that's how you learned. And I was like, wow, that is how I learned. Like, so school was not, you know, a good
Right.
thing for me because I need to see things happen and I need to experience it in order to
Right.
really kind of learn it. So I'm not book smart in the least bit.
Oh, me either. I'm the
I can
same
add
way.
to it
If
you
I
all day
don't do it, I don't know. I have to do it to learn it. But yeah, it's crazy how you do those things. And I used to
long.
hear my voice called my
Oh
name
yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
people like, oh, don't listen to that. It's scary. And it's like, so that put that fear in me to push stuff back. And
Yeah, I
it's
don't think
crazy.
anybody ever, well, I don't know that I ever really talked to anybody about any
Yeah.
of that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I don't think I did really. Like that
Yeah.
happened a lot through my life.
Really,
Um, a couple times it was like a child's voice. A couple times it was like a
really,
little boy. Yeah. And I remember Jessica and I, my youngest daughter and I were at my
yeah.
mom's, and we spent the night, and all night long we kept hearing this child come up and go at us, like right in your ear. Like we're
Wow.
trying to sleep and we go, and then we would laugh and we would laugh. And it was the
Uh-huh.
funniest thing. We had some really weird experiences and still had no idea, right?
Right, right.
No idea what was
That's
going
like me with the little ghost girl in when we lived in Maryland. It was just,
on. Oh
I
yeah,
could
you
like
did have.
see her just like looking at you, and I think that's why she stayed in our apartment so much, is she could tell that, hey, she's open, but I wasn't, but I
Yeah,
was, and it
yeah.
was it was
She's open but
crazy,
in the closet.
right?
Right? Yeah. Well, and think about so moms, see the intuition we have with our children. Like there
Right.
was a day that I was at my mom's with my oldest, but she was less than a year old. She was in one of those little bouncy things, the
Yeah.
little saucers with the bouncer thing that they stand in. And her my mom's boyfriend showed up, and we were gonna go outside,
Yeah.
and he walked over to her to pick up her, just the whole thing.
Yeah.
I bolted across the room. I shoved him and took the kid, picked the whole
Yeah.
thing up myself, and was like, nope, I got it. And I didn't understand why for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, he had been doing some inappropriate things with his children. But
Oh
I
my
didn't know
god.
that. I had
Right.
no basis for anything. I did not know this man. You know,
Yeah.
I was a grown adult with kids, My mom
Right.
was doing her own
Oh,
thing.
yeah, that's
Those,
another strong one, is just
yeah.
being icked out by people and not knowing why, and then I feel like,
Mhm.
"God, am I just being a bitch or what?" I instantly do not like this person, but I have no reason, but looking back, you do. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but at the
Yeah.
time you don't know. And it's like
No.
there was another instance. My mom had a lot of bad guys around, but
Yeah.
there was another instance as an adult, no children yet. So this was before that one. And my husband and I went to my mom's, and it was a couple hour drive. We got there late because we worked all day, and it was dark. And where she lived, there was no lights. There was no street lights. She was out in the boonies, and it was pitch black. And he came out to the car. I couldn't even see him yet.
Yeah.
And I immediately went, we need to go home
Right.
right now. And of course, you're just being a bitch. And I'm just like, I actually willingly came here. Something's wrong. Something's not
Yeah.
right. And it did turn out things were extremely wrong. It was a very
Right.
bad guy. And I don't know if you have any of these kinds of things, but if there's a bad person around and I have to be in their presence and they're kind of a threat,
Mhm.
I will not stop bullying them. It is the weirdest thing that comes over me.
Yeah.
And I start just pushing and pushing and
Really.
pushing. And I don't know what it is, but
I
it
don't
has to be tied to
Yeah, yeah, see, I don't
something.
do that. I will sit back and watch them and just kinda like
We
I
were
don't
stuck
know.
there
It's
the
like I
entire
know,
weekend.
and I still sometimes, I guess it's because 'cause you're ingrained as a kid, you gotta be nice to people, and,
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
it's
I mean, I was taught that.
yeah.
It's not in my control, whatever it is.
And, oh my god, when I worked in retail and, like, all these icky people would come up, and it's just like, I wish I woulda knew the spiritual cleansing back then, because it was just so much ick, and so many people think that they can treat you whatever way they want to just because you're working in retail, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
me
That goes
with my mouth, I'm like, "Oh, no, the hell you don't. I'm gonna
on.
tell your manager." I'm like, "Come on, we'll go together."
Yeah. Let me
Like,
take you over there.
"You wanna spell
Now,
my
see,
name
that's a little
right?"
bit of what I do. Yeah. Yeah. It's the
Yeah,
funniest
and
thing.
like shoplifters. I could look at
Yeah.
they would walk in the door and I'm like, "You shoplifting? Never seen this person before in my life," and sure
Yeah.
enough,
Just knowing things about people. in
Right?
general,
Yeah.
like
I'd
crazy,
be
huh?
sitting in my car eating lunch, and this woman walked by, and she had 2 kids with her, little kids, and I'm like, "She's gonna shoplift." And when I'm going back after lunch to clock in, I turn a corner, and there she is, shoving CDs under the car seat, lifted the baby up in the car seat, putting CDs
That's
under the
crazy.
and I'm like, I just stood there, and I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
Really? You're gonna use your kid?"
Yeah.
But
Yes, I do.
I don't know how I never got fired, but it
But you know,
just
what's funny is how did we back then not know
right,
these are not normal things? Other people aren't telling us this stuff,
right.
right? We're not like, how did we not know? You don't know because it's natural. So
Yeah,
you can read people really well, you know what they're up to, you have that,
yeah.
and I always have like older people in the grocery lines coming to me and spilling deep dark secrets and then being like, oh my God, I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
told anybody that. We're standing in a grocery line, things like that. Like I always had, like, even as a child, like advice
Right.
for people about their relationships, or, my brother was coming to me when he was dating, and I didn't date until I was in my 20s. Like he's almost 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he would be like asking me for advice about how to handle things. And I'm like, all right, well, I had no basis for any of that,
Right.
you know?
Right.
It's crazy, but there's so many
Yes.
things. Like when I drove down the road, oh, I was a crazy driver. As it turned out, it actually was really good training ground, because later when I was having like people attack me, I was able to outdrive them and things were fine.
Yeah.
But so I think it was really training. But I, like you, on the road, I could look at like heavy traffic. We're San Diego,
Mhm.
so there's always traffic. We're on a freeway. My butt is trying to go as fast as I can.
Right.
And sometimes that was 100 miles an hour. So, but I could see where everybody was going,
Yeah.
where the openings would come,
Mhm.
where how you could just move right through it safely, and I'm sure it didn't seem safe to anybody else, but I never
Right.
hit, never caused an accident. But I always knew, like, oh, that person's going to go that lane. Nope, don't go
Mhm.
there.
And
Like, it
it's
was so strange, and that's your guidance. Like
I
that's
know,
that's
and
your
I
guidance.
look back, and it's like, how could I not know? It's like, was I that big of a dumbass? But
You
I
know,
don't think I'm a dumb it's just,
no, 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 yeah,
nobody else was doing this. How did it not click to me that, "Hey, you're different?"
because
You're
it's so natural. And
yeah,
that's why there's so many people running around this world that are super intuitive and
right,
have super great abilities that would really help them in their life even more if they tuned in. Because
right,
what I have found is, as I have been able to tune in, as I have done the shadow work, and as I
right,
worked through that trauma that got me diagnosed with the mental
right,
illness, and, I was able to go through those periods with all of that. Um, Now I can see how well it plays in my life even
yeah.
more.
Oh, yeah.
Always kept us safe, right? Always kept us
Mhm.
guided, always kept us on track to some degree. And I feel like, had I not had such a deep connection, I would never have been able to get through my own trauma work by
Right,
myself. And that's pretty much where I was. I mean, I had the
right,
psych meds for years. I did, and it did help, right? Like, I mean, it's so funny because so many, this is kind of off topic, but so many spiritual people are like, oh, you can't be taking psych meds and doing this work, and you
right.
can't be, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't agree, because it was my experience, right? Like,
Yeah,
I know how much it helped me center so that I could do my own work.
yeah.
But that's what comes naturally to me
And
too.
everybody's different. You can't tell somebody else that they're wrong when it's their path, not yours. That's
Our
one thing I
paths are
don't agree with
separated.
either.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own way to do their own thing, you know.
We really do. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, there is
Yeah.
definitely no fiddle for
Yeah.
anyone. And that's
Right.
why, like,
Like,
my coaching, like when I'm coaching, I don't have this written out program. This is
right.
okay. Let's sit with this person. Let's look at, what do you need to change? What do you
Yeah.
need to do? Where are your weaknesses? Where do you want to strengthen? You want to get rid of that anxiety?
Right.
Let's empower you. Let's do
Right.
this and that. Let's go here. That's important,
Yeah. Because you
because
can't cut and paste for everybody. It
no,
doesn't
you
work
really
that
cannot.
way. Yeah.
No, you really can't. It's so individualized.
Right.
And so is our learning path
Oh, yeah.
as far as spirituality goes, right? Like
Right.
our yours and my path were really not super similar in the end,
No.
right? When we actually started diving in, and the experiences, that we've had, I think are similar and different at the same time,
Right.
but
Exactly. Yeah.
here we are doing some of the same stuff, right? It's kind
It's
of interesting.
different. That's what I always tell everybody. It's like, they're like, one of my friends, they're like, oh, it's not the same as yours. I was like, it's okay. It doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just different.
Oh, I think we're all badasses, man. And I'll tell you
I'm like,
what,
just,
like I think we are all so powerful, but all in different ways.
yeah,
And it's really important for us to realize that our world here teaches us to fit into a box that
right,
absolutely doesn't exist. There's no such thing.
right,
We are unique personalities. We are unique beings. We have unique talents. We have unique quirks.
right,
Like we have unique weaknesses. Like we are all just super cool beings, really super cool in all different ways.
right.
I love hearing other people's perspectives,
Oh, I
and
know.
I absolutely. I mean, it's so fun and
It
interesting
is.
to
It's
have
very
those
interesting.
conversations.
I love it too. And just,
It is.
and the different things that different people can do. It's just like, wow. So
Oh,
what if
it's
you don't do Reiki? You can like channel anybody you want, and that's freaking amazing too.
I know, and my guide started me running angelic energy.
Yeah,
I didn't have certifications. I'm like, I can't do that. They're like, yes, you can.
right,
They kept saying to me, you cannot be certified in what you come in with naturally. We need you to do this before you do anything else.
right,
And they didn't let me certify in anything
really.
until 6 years ago or something.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it was a long time of, nope, you
Yeah,
know what you're doing. Do this, do this, do this. Wait, just trust us. They had to build that faith and that trust,
yeah,
because they didn't have any kind of faith or
right.
trust, anything. So, trust me. I'm like,
Exactly. That's why they sent me a TV show to get me into Reiki. Because it's like
right?
I was here, and this one for the other show we go is hearing this, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. No, that's just me making it up. And then they made me watch that. Oh, I don't even remember the name of the show, but I had never watched it. And all of a sudden I had this urge to watch this show. It's like a ghost busting type show. And the woman kept talking about Reiki masters. And I'm like, I have never heard of that. What is that? And when I researched it, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what you're talking about, huh? I need to take a class. And then it's
Well,
like,
and that's another way that they guide us, right? Like for
right,
me too. I just kept having this one, and my feed was filled with all kinds of weird stuff back
right,
then. And I just kept having this one teacher. She just kept coming up with this awaken the healer within thing, and it just
right.
kept coming across my social media. And
Yeah.
I kept having that feeling you're talking about, like I need to contact her. And I'm like, her class was like $400 a month.
Wow.
I was over here on no income, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way. And I just kept being pushed to do it. And I contacted her, and she gave me a big discount
Oh,
and let me
wow.
take her class, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's They work with social media, they work with radios,
Right.
they work with whatever they
Oh,
can.
yeah. Whatever to
And
get your attention.
yeah, and like Rachel says, don't discount anything.
Right.
If you have a moment, and it can just be a moment of, was that
Right.
was that Joe, or whatever, right? Like, was that
Yeah.
message? Like, oh my God, that's my song. How weird. I haven't heard that in 20
Right.
years. Like, that is a sign. That is someone or
Absolutely.
something guiding you, telling you they're there, right? Like, bringing that up for you. And we just
Mhm.
go, oh, that's a coincidence. But I feel like you
Mhm.
could hear that song 25 times, but if you don't think of the person, then that's not the
Right.
message. But when it comes on and you're like, oh, wow, that's them
Yep.
on any level. And of course, our minds then go, oh, but it's just a song they play on the radio. Rah, rah.
Right. They play it
But
all the
it's only
time.
when I get
Yeah.
in the car, like, right. When I'm driving and crying about, so and so, and their song comes on, like,
Right.
that's
I
them
know.
saying we're here.
I've
I mean,
I've had to pull over on the side of the road before because a certain song would come on, and it's like, really? just to sit there and cry. But, I needed to hear it at that moment to get it out because,
Yeah, yeah.
it's,
Well, those are healing moments too. I mean,
yeah,
in
yeah.
all reality.
And sometimes I'm just like, really? We got to do this now?
Yes, we do, ma'am, because you have been avoiding it until this moment, and we've got you right where we want you.
Oh,
Boom.
yeah. And that's what they do to me. It's like a baseball to the head. Here you go. And I'm
Joelle's
curled
a
up
little resistant to
crying.
her healing. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think we all have to have that to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
I think mine was, and to me, I always say people have to have a rock bottom to want to heal. You
Right.
gotta hit that rock bottom.
Oh,
And,
yeah. That was
I
me,
had hit
really,
it.
in a
Yeah.
sense.
I had hit it, leaving my husband, and, my first weekends away from my kids were so hard. And I'm
Yeah.
like, they're my whole life. And then boom, a voice in the car tells me to choose
Right.
happiness. And I'm like, all right, I'm fucking happy. And, I changed my life. That
Right.
set me on that path. There's so many weird little things
Oh,
that
yeah.
can set us on a path that just changes your whole world.
Yeah.
I came from
Absolutely.
rage, hatred of myself, most especially. My mother was extremely demeaning, and you
Mhm.
believe that as a child, right? Like you just believe it. I came from the doctor saying you either quit working or you go in a mental hospital. You're so
Wow.
depressed. I don't know what to do with you.
Right.
And I was like, you got it. I'll stay home.
Yeah.
I gotta raise my kids. But
Oh, yeah. That's
it's just
kinda me because, starting in 2016, I was starting the spiritual path, realizing, oh, I do see spirits, and that's kind of odd, and then it's like members of my family started dying. And it was like, ever since 2016, a member of my family that I was like really close to. And then after my mom in 2019, I was in a deep, deep depression, and my husband's like, you need to go to grief therapy. I'm like, no, that's I need something more.
yeah.
It's like that therapy is not gonna work. It's something more. And that's when I can't think of the name of that show. It was with the woman Amy. I can't think of it.
Paranormal State? No. Oh, I don't know. It's
No,
one of the
no.
paranormal shows, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but I really I had it had been on for years, and I loved ghost shows, but I
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
watched
I like
that
them
one.
too.
I watch them and laugh at them most of the time, but, it was
Oh, I loved them. I've always loved that kind of stuff.
oh my god, it's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's I watched that one show, and that's the show that had, she's talking about bringing in Reiki masters, and I'm like, "What?" And when
Yeah.
I started, took the class and started the 21 day, it was an amazing transformation in me.
And that's
Forrest was like,
that's
he's like, I just cannot believe the
yeah.
difference because he thought he's like, oh, what is this bullshit,
I'll
And I'm
tell
like,
you,
I'm just gonna try it and see.
yeah.
They're
Rich
sending it to me for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing. So your grief
yeah.
set you on a path of
Oh, yeah.
awakening,
Right.
basically. Like you go it just like I did with my mental health issues.
Yeah.
I was like, there's got to be a way. I'm not subscribing to this for the rest of my life. No, no, no,
Right.
no. I'm going to be happy. Like, there's a way to do it. I don't know how to do it. I couldn't find a therapist that was doing it. You
Right.
know, same kind of thing. Like, you're stuck in grief, and there
Yeah.
is nothing better than running some energy for grief. I will tell
Right. Oh my God. It was just I felt so much lighter. And,
you. Yeah.
and I'm in my 20s, I had been to the counseling and therapist after therapist. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore, And it was so funny because he's like, he had, oh, this is bullshit, but I'm going to let her do what she wants to do. And I'm laying in bed one night and I'm doing myself Reiki the 21 days. And I'm like, can I show you something? And he's like, what? And I just reached over and touched him. And he's like, what the hell was that? Because I always have ice cold hands. He's like, your hands are so freaking hot. What is going? I said, that's the energy. And it was like, well, maybe there's something
It's
to
so,
this.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And I will tell you guys, Joelle's energy is super powerful.
Oh, Thank you.
I love when she helps me.
Oh, I love your healing pods. Those are best sleep I
we
ever had.
I know we both do some kind of powerful
Right.
energy healings. We don't talk about it much. I don't talk about it as much as I
Yeah.
find a way to, but it's all very powerful, and I
Yeah.
really enjoy Joelle's work a lot. Really highly recommend,
Thank you.
honestly. Yeah,
We're both
but
awesome. That's just
I mean, yeah. Right. I mean, we're all unique, right? So
right.
whoever you're
Yeah.
drawn to is where you
You
go,
do your thing, I do my thing. We're both awesome. So
right? Yeah, yeah. And sometimes we're even amazing together. So
right.
that's always fun. Really, the whole idea of this conversation was just to really be like, look, you guys, it's running through your life in so many ways.
Right.
We're not extra special. We are just tuned into it in
Mm-hmm.
ways that others aren't. And it's because we come into this world and we're taught that everything that makes you happy is external, and
Right.
to avoid, going within. We're mistreated, what have you. That we have experiences here that are all meant to be some kind of lesson for our soul or
Right.
whatever. And, we come out of that with a lot of limitations. And when you
Right.
get into, like, for me, it was, my late 30s, early 40s that I was just like, no, I'm still looking for how to fix
Right.
this shit. We're
Yeah.
not
Me,
sticking
it was
this
like
way.
my late 40s for me. And it's like, this morning when I was doing my video and channeled Archangel Michael, he's like, we're no better than y'all. We all come from the same place. Everybody can do.
Yeah.
You just have to get in tune with it and
And you
let
have
the
to
fear
see
go. Like I like to hold on to for so long, but finally
and
let it
realize that
go.
you don't have to be worthy in some new way, that you've
Right.
always been worthy. I had a hard time too, because, mine came in angelic. I worked with the archangels exclusively for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I was always the person who didn't want to be seen in any
Right.
way, shape, or form. And I certainly did not want to be special. So that was hard, like, to
Oh
adjust to,
yeah.
and I don't have any religious backgrounds or anything. So
Right.
none of it's that. It's 100% just spiritual. And they helped a lot of people
Yeah.
through me
Oh,
over the years, in a lot of different ways. But man, you know, depending on what you're coming from, as far as how you
oh
grew
yeah.
up and, what your thoughts are about yourself, it's hard to accept that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. It took them many years of just having me do things to get to the point where I would even say that's what I was doing.
Right.
I would try to call my energies something else. So, like, they were having me channel, they called it angelic healing energy.
Yeah.
And they instructed that was what I was to call it. And every time I tried to call it something else, I couldn't say it. They were
Really.
like, nope, that's not what it is. It's the funniest thing. But
That's awesome.
yeah, anyway, I mean, we could go off on 12 topics, which we probably
Right.
already have, but
No,
you know,
no.
but we just want, we just want people to realize that we're all special.
Absolutely.
Everybody is special in one way or another. If it's not spiritual in the way that you're helping other people, that's fine. Your
Yeah. Even if
intuition
you
can
just
move
help
through your life.
yourself, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah,
even
the
by helping
Reiki,
yourself, people
self-Reiki.
see it and you help them by healing yourself. I mean, a lot of
Oh,
people
the
don't
ripples.
realize that,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah, the
know?
way when you heal yourself, it ripples out to the community, it
Oh,
ripples out to your family, it heals the
absolutely.
ancestors. Like, we're moving through things in this time that are clearing the path
Oh,
for our children,
right.
for their children. Like,
Mhm.
it's crazy when you get right down to it. But, I'm like, oh, you ever have that? That's weird. I'm sorry. My hearing just completely changed, and I have this huge screeching in my ear.
Oh, no.
Which is like, whew, that was weird. I don't know what that's about. Sorry.
Okay. That was a little nuts.
It's in everybody. It's for everybody.
Right.
If you need help getting there, there's so many people
Oh,
now
yeah,
that are open about it and
absolutely.
talking about it. And if you're drawn to someone, go to them.
Right.
Go to them. Test it out.
Mhm.
I mean, it opens things up. I mean, just getting an energy healing session
Oh,
can really just help you balance out the body and move through your life. Like, it's crazy. I mean, even if that's just all you do is regularly work with someone, it
right.
will open things up for you, and um the intuition, the way it plays into your life, the
Oh,
way your
yeah.
abilities play into your life will just become clearer and easier, and they'll just help you with your life. You don't
Oh,
have to become some practitioner of somebody else. You
no.
really don't. It's so beneficial for ourselves.
Excuse me.
I mean, it changed me from rage-filled, hateful, popping off on people in public
Right.
to, someone who just is like, I can stand in Walmart or wherever, which was my most recent one, and talk to somebody for 45 minutes because they
Right.
need to tell me about their life. And they feel so good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Like,
Right.
that's just sharing the love, man. Like,
Absolutely.
anyhow, I think we are past our time. I don't even know. Oh, where's the time? Oh, 35 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
35. Yeah.
Where is it?
Above your head. No.
And you don't have to be perfect with any of it.
Oh, God, no.
As we are here to show you, we have a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of love for people that we can share. And there's just no way we're going to do it perfectly.
Oh, no. But the good thing is to just laugh about it and let it go.
It's the best. Did you have anything else you want to add before we go? Is there?
I think
you have a
we
channel you want to
pretty
do
much covered.
We're not channeling today. Well, I mean, we are, but
Yeah.
we're not
No.
channeling in that way. Anyhow, so I guess we'll just let everybody go.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions, maybe, or if not?
I don't have comments. So Judy's here, but I haven't seen her post a question.
Yeah, I hadn't. Yeah.
Yeah, she did say that she's enjoying the conversation and
Yeah.
thought-provoking for her, which I really appreciate. Thank you.
I know.
We love Judy. She's just the best.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah, she's a pretty gifted individual herself. So
Yeah.
Anyhow, everybody have a great week.
Thank you all for watching.
Yes, thank you. And we will see you next week, Tuesday, same time.
Another fun-filled conversation
Of some kind.
Yep.
I think we'll be channeling next week. So we'll do more of that. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.